And welcome back, everybody. Listen, that challenge that we just talked about in the commercial there, please check it out because we're changing lives, one life at a time, one life at a time. We're making it happen. We've had some great results, and I definitely want you guys to get in on the next challenge. I think we're going to be starting another one on October 16th. I think that's the next one. So please do check it out. So, like I said, everybody, we have an awesome guest on the show this afternoon or this evening or wherever you are in the world. This gentleman, when I first sat down with him in his office called Starbucks, we had we just hung out, and it was just really just the coolest time where we could just sit down and just connect. And I think that is important between men. I think it's especially important between Black men. And I just wanted to really give him props, and just to say that today. And so listen, everybody, we have the awesome Mr. Frank Robinson on the line today. Welcome, man.
Hey, welcome. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it. Appreciate it. Humbled, man.
Oh man, I'm humble, and like I said, every opportunity I get to spend some time with you, it is definitely cherished. Because I do learn a lot from you. And I mean, your journey, I would have to admit, has been an awesome journey. And I just want everyone just to kind of like get to know a little bit about your journey and what you're doing, what you're up to, and, how you're impacting lives because you got a lot going on. and when people say the 24-hour day, you might be squeezed it. You might be the first person that's maybe doing like 24 points. Something.
Ooh, man, it feels like that sometimes. But listen, let me first say thank you, man. Once again, thank you because I mean, I'm humbled again, like I said, for what you're doing and the ministry that you're doing and reaching so many lives and changing so many lives. So I applaud you as well, without a doubt. And yeah, it's been it's been a journey. It's been a journey, man. Sometimes I feel like I'm just juggling different things, but I really believe that God has put on us exactly what we can handle.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I always tell people: be careful what you pray for, because you just might get it. You just might get it. So, wow. But like I said, of course, my story is that I'm born and raised in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Started ministry back then. I think I've been in ministry for about 26 years. I accepted my call to the ministry. Right after I came out of the service, I served in the Air Force.
How old were you then?
Oh my God.
I'm going to give you a little bit of something to think about here. Pull out the paper and the pen.
Yeah. Sit there. Hold on. Let me get my calculator. Because we had just got married and, man, 30 something, 31, 32 in that area.
Yeah.
So I ran from it, though. I ran from it because I knew what was on my life already. Mm-hmm. Something was spoken over my life when I was 13 years old, and, went into the service, lived my life. And, this is both our second marriages. So, we did our thing. And, but I ran from it. I came up around, I'm a church boy, I was dragged to church, every single day, opened the church, closed the church. And, my mom and dad served faithfully. My sisters served faithfully. And, so I knew church, and church was in me. Mm-hmm. And I was like so many others at that time, so many others that even say it now, that when I get older, I'm not going to go to church anymore. I'm going to go to church when I want to. And so God had another plan, since I thought I was big and bad. But the bottom line is I accepted my call. And I remember the day I accepted the call because I called not only my parents, but I called one of my aunts. And she said, once you pick up that cross, you can't turn around, and so that stayed with me. And, I have to say to this day, no regrets, no regrets. The good, the bad, the ugly, it all comes with the ministry. Yeah. It's no regrets.
Yeah. Now, were your parents like, they weren't pastors or anything like that?
No, my grandfather, my uncles, and my mom and dad were deacons and deaconess. Okay. Served, and serving. And I keep stressing that word serve because I think it's one of the things that we don't do enough of. per se.
In today's or
In
okay.
today's, yeah, because
Now,
so
how did
many
you serve? What was your idea of serving back then?
of what I saw my dad, driving my pastor
Mm,
then pastor, to his speaking engagements or what have you. My mom and dad serving as, like I said, as far as deacons and deaconess, um, in that capacity, so in working in the church and
mhm,
things like that. Yeah, of course, there's so many that take on the title to be served, but that's not according to what the Bible says. He said, I didn't come to serve. I couldn't come to be served. I come to serve.
mhm,
So we got to get that in order at the same time. But so that's what I saw. I had the greatest model, because I always said, and I'll say it to the mountaintop. My greatest model was my dad. He was my hero. I lost both of my parents. My
mhm,
dad passed about 26 years ago. Matter of fact, he was ordained at another church, ordained a deacon, and I was licensed as a minister on the same day and same service together. And then my mom just passed about a year and a half ago. And but like I said, no regrets. It's what I was came up around and what I was accustomed to.
mhm,
you know. And then coming from Philadelphia, like I said, I served and I pastored actually two different churches up in the Philadelphia area. One as an interim pastor and then one as a senior pastor
mhm,
as well. Grew that church, and God said, okay, that's it. That's all I need you to do.
mhm.
And I'm like, no, God, I'm settled. This is it. I got it going on. People knew me. I was training a lot of leaders and da da da. And but again, God has his last say.
Mhm, mhm,
And moved us down here. And I was a youth pastor. Actually, it was crazy because I had such a passion for youth and working with youth and youth ministries that God called me from a senior pastor position up in the Pennsylvania area back into youth ministry for a mega church down here in the Winston-Salem area, and served faithfully for about 4 or 5 years, man. And we did some great programs and things. And then he called me back into senior pastoring. So it was kind of crazy. My journey is kind of crazy, and you
yeah,
can't predict how God is going to use you at
yeah,
all. And
yeah,
as much as we want to try to say, okay, God, I want you to do this, I want you to do this at this particular time. No, it's according to his will and his way,
right.
without a doubt. So a lot of people even question me, how are you going to go from a senior pastor and go back into youth ministry? Ask God.
And 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 that's the one thing that I want to kind of like, ask you about right quick because trust and faith, and I think that's where we claim to have it,
Mm-hmm,
but we don't exercise,
mm-hmm,
so we get to the ledge
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
to look over,
mm-hmm.
and so what made you kind of like just say, okay, God, I gotta, it's on you,
Yeah.
it's not me, and find that faith.
Yeah, you're right, Todd. That trust and faith, and like I said, you ask God for something, you ask God for clarity, you say you trust him, but then when he gives you a direction or he gives a confirmation and it's not shaped the way you want it to be
Mm,
shaped, or it
mm.
doesn't come across with the in the grandiose
Burning
manner that
bush.
you yeah and either you're going to trust him or not.
Yeah.
Either you're going to lean on his word or not.
Mhm.
And yes, you're right. And when we get to that edge, it's like, well, God, hey, hey, I was only kidding,
Yeah.
but, but you got to make that decision. Either you want God or you don't, you
Yeah.
know. Um, and one of the first scriptures that my grandfather put in every single one of us, and it was first scripture that I ever memorized, Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Since you just said trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean
Mhm,
not
mhm,
to thine own
mhm,
understanding.
mhm,
And all thy
mhm.
ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Now this is going to mess up some of your folks because some will be like, what? Well, I got it tattooed on me.
Oh,
Okay. The actual Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. And but it's something that's near and dear to my heart.
mhm,
Um, and it's something that either you, like you said, you're going to trust him or you're not.
mhm.
Because he will put the test out there.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Right.
Ram in the bush,
Yeah.
okay, sacrifice your son. Okay, God, that's easy. Take him up to the mountain. Okay, God, that's easy.
Hmm.
Kill him. okay, God,
Oh,
that's
whoa.
it's my son,
Yeah, yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah.
But the difference is that faith that he had was because he knew God never failed him before.
Mm.
But when you learn how to trust him and realize what he's brought you through before, well, God, hey, listen, it's not on me, it's you. Make your word live. You're not going to make yourself look bad.
Yeah,
So I can only trust you.
yeah.
And that's what we did,
Got you.
in leaving family and coming into North Carolina, no family.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right,
And
right,
taking
right.
on a bigger position that I've ever had in my
Yeah,
ministry
yeah,
and trusting him.
yeah,
And so and then going back into senior pastoring for a small church,
yeah,
whereas I was always used to mega churches and
yeah.
large, and
Wow,
God is
yeah,
saying,
yeah.
but come on, Gideon, I don't need that many. A crowd doesn't make a church,
Hmm.
you know. And I had to come to realization of that, Matter of fact, I just posted that on Facebook this past week. A crowd doesn't make a church. And
Right.
sometimes we get wrapped up in the amount of people, but yet are those people doing ministry?
You're right, right, right. So I'm trying to think of a song that Kirk Franklin. It was something that one of his songs. We're building churches, but are we building lives? You know, and that's one of the issues that I do have
Mhm.
with today's church environment is that are we really building lives?
Yeah,
And so I'm glad that you brought that up.
yeah,
Just to,
yeah.
like it's not about how many people, but
Mm-mm.
how the lives are you impacting the people
That's
that are
right.
in front of you? If it's
That's
five
right.
people,
That's right.
are you impacting those people? And
That's right.
that's where I think the which really should be and what it
Hmm.
really should be about.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I didn't want to, it wasn't. So we're being guided by the Spirit, I would
Yeah.
say,
Oh,
because
without a doubt.
bottom
Yeah.
line, I had no agenda, written out here,
Hmm.
but I am
Good.
just moved. I am just moved by what you are speaking about, my brother, and because this thing called life, um, we really need to find our spiritual self,
Hmm.
and it
Hmm.
is important. But like I was saying, what you have demonstrated in your life is what most people aren't willing to do, and
Yeah.
that's listen
Yeah. Yeah.
and trust and have that faith and
Yeah.
act on that faith.
Yeah. And,
And
and it hasn't always been easy, by no means possible.
right,
So
right,
I need
right.
I need every listener to understand this has not been a
So
bed of roses.
let me ask you this question then. Have you ever been looked at like Frank is absolutely out of his mind?
Oh, most definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Especially several times. But
Yeah.
especially when you are willing to trust God, you're
Mm,
always going to be ridiculed.
yeah.
That comes with the territory. That comes with the job description.
Yeah.
And that's not saying that you have to be a pastor. It doesn't have to say you have to be a deacon or anything like that. Just in fact of being a believer.
Hmm.
Sometimes God will do the unthinkable, the ridiculous, the unexpected.
Mm,
Are you willing to trust Him at it?
yeah.
You know, we can't just say, let go and let God and not do it. It can't just be a
Right.
cliche.
Right.
We go
Right.
and say we're good for these cliches.
Cliches. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we're good for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm too stressed. I'm too blessed to be stressed, and yet you going behind closed doors. You pulling out your hair. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it hasn't come with a bed of roses or anything like that.
Mm,
It's come with being stabbed in the back, talked
mm,
about, rumors. You can just name it it said hoodwinked and bamboozled. You
yeah. Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so it's come with that. But it's a price to pay, especially to where we are today. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And I'm looking at my children. I'm looking at my wife and just the businesses that the Lord has blessed us with. And you could, if you told me even just a year ago that we would be where we are today, I would have thought you were crazy. You
Wow. Wow.
just that's
Wow.
just that's how it's not talking, oh yeah, 5 years. No, I'm talking about a year ago, if not less than that. And so, but God has been faithful. to his word, and you just
Yeah,
have to trust him. You
that is
really do.
awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about, man, because like you said, you have a wife and you have, how many kids do you have?
I have two children. I have two children. I have an awesome young man, boy. He is just, whew,
How old are
he is 33,
they?
33,
Okay, guy.
34. Probably kill me for messing up his age, but that's okay. Uh, he just continues to blow my
Oh
mind. You're
yeah.
talking about someone who has a passion, who had a passion, and sometimes that passion was questioned, and it was music,
Hmm.
and then how God positioned him in the right place at the right time and connecting him with individuals. I think right now, as we speak, I think he's over in I think it's over in Amsterdam. I
Mm.
think it's over in Amsterdam, and they work. He and his fiance, they work with artists, and so they're on tour,
Wow.
Germany, England, and so forth with the artists, and so they'll be coming back to the States soon. And then
Awesome.
daughter,
I said awesome, man.
okay, yeah, and then
Awesome.
my
Yeah.
daughter, and they signed with Columbia Records, and my daughter is, she just continues to evolve.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
She's 24
24. Yeah.
in my pocket
Yeah.
all day.
Yeah.
Right?
24. Yeah. 24 in the pockets, baby.
Yes, Lord. Oh, she's the apple, but she's my heart. She's my
Yeah.
heart.
Yeah.
And if I just say her, every time I think about it, I just smile because I've seen her mature into a beautiful young lady that she is. And thank God for her mother just nurturing her. And she's a substitute teacher, never thought she'd be that. Um, and then my wife, we were high school sweethearts, man. We were high
Wow.
school
Wow.
sweethearts,
Wow.
went separate ways, went into separate marriages, and then Lord brought us back.
Hmm.
And it was almost like not one day was missed, you know.
Mm. Mm.
And I cherish her just for putting up with me. Because
Hmm.
let me tell you, Frank Robinson is not easy. but I thank God for her, honestly, and
Good deal. Good
because
deal.
God will set you up hook you up with what you need, not always what you want.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And that really, she's my friend, and my business partner, all those things all wrapped up in the wife, and so I thank God for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I would have to say both you and I are blessed in that
Man,
regard,
yes,
man. And
yeah,
it's so important to find, that person that is your lifelong partner like that,
yeah,
and my
yeah,
wife, man, I tell you, same thing,
yeah,
with me all the way, and really just supportive of like my crazy ideas. It's
yes,
like I come
yes,
up with the
yes.
crazy ideas, and it's like, okay, well, honey, let's do it then, and I commend her for that, and so it's
Yeah,
so important, man, to just find that
yeah.
support that you have. You can marry that, man. We struck gold, brother. We
There
definitely
you
struck
go.
gold.
Yes,
We
yes, we
definitely struck
did.
gold. So, man, so we've come to this point now where you have uh your calling, and you've had your calling, and you've been with that, but you are a what I would call a true entrepreneur.
Bless you, sir.
And one of the things that I really push on the show is finding your passion and turning
Yeah,
that into
yeah,
something that you can make a lifelong project of, and possibly a business of.
yeah.
And so you've come out of the Philly area, and you came down to the North Carolina, about 30 minutes away from me,
Hmm.
and you've got an operation going in Winston-Salem, that area, Chili, Philly,
Yes, sir.
and
Yes, sir.
bringing it down to the Winston-Salem, bringing it down to the Carolinas, man.
There you go.
So you have expanded into this area and doing,
Mhm.
some business. So tell us a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey, and how that came to be a part of who you are and what you're doing with, your multiple talents.
Definitely, definitely. Let me also back up, and also, I went to LaSalle University when I was up in
Hmm.
Philadelphia, and I didn't finish,
Hmm.
and so I had an opportunity to go into the corporate world as well, and
What you
so
do in the
when,
corporate world?
huh?
What you do in the corporate world?
I, I have a strong healthcare management background.
Oh man.
I'd worked with some major companies where I was like a national business office manager, and
Okay.
over and working with CFOs, helping them
Okay.
rebuild their business offices,
Oh
and
wow.
unfortunately going through and cleaning house, creating policies and procedures. So
Gotcha.
yeah, so I would get a call on Friday and have to be in California on Monday or something like that.
Oh
So
man.
it was
Okay.
pretty good. It was pretty good.
Cool.
No complaints. But the Lord blessed me, and I'm sharing that because the Lord blessed me in the corporate environment with all before I got my degree. I
Hmm.
was not having a degree while I was working in the corporate world, and just I don't even want to go into how the Lord just blessed. It was just blessings after blessings after blessings. Long story short, came down here in North Carolina, and then I said, you know what, I got an opportunity to go back to school. My wife pushed me, so I ended up going to Winston-Salem State University, go Rams, and so I graduated actually just recently, as far as 2020 during the pandemic.
Hmm.
So, so I said, well, you know what? Let me go further. I talked to my
Hmm.
BA rep. I said, okay, let me just go further. And I like settled with my BA, and so it went on, and she said, well, you can still go anywhere you want. I said, okay. I said, I'm gonna go to Wake Forest and get my master's. And
Hmm.
she said, all right. So I went into a program at Wake Forest and Wake Forest University, and got my master's just last year, May 2022. And so I'm sharing all that. And then, like I said, BA, master's, I'll say we're good. My wife got homesick a couple of years ago, and said, you know what, let's open up a store. And we partnered with somebody, and then we recently just got a new partner, and just kind of took it to a whole nother level, because sometimes you got pruned in order to get to where
Hmm.
you really got
Hmm.
to be.
Hmm.
And sometimes it has to do with people too. Sometimes
Hmm.
God gives you some bad apples. You just got to take the
Hmm.
apple to not affect the rest of the tree. And that's what we had to do. So it's called Chili Philly, Philadelphia Original Water Ice. If anyone is from the North, they know about Rita's and things like that. But we brought it here. And so it's Chili Philly, Philadelphia Water Ice. And the Lord has been blessing. We just celebrated 2 years a little while ago during the summer.
Wow.
And we opened during the pandemic. People were like, what are y'all doing? Again, trusting God.
Yep. Yep. There you
Again,
go.
trusting
There you
God.
go. There you go.
And it blew up, and it's just awesome, man. It's awesome. So we have that, brick and mortar
Hmm.
store, and then we also have my wife also has a t-shirt company called Empower Creations with a K.
Hmm.
And she just does some fabulous things with that, and doing whole uniforms. And I mean, you need it, she'll do it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
She,
Awesome.
now all the while keeping a full-time job, and and then of course I have another business which I do some videography work,
Mhm.
and I do some voiceovers and things like that. So just a couple little
Wow.
things on the side,
Yeah, man.
you
I
know.
mean, like I said, man, when I listened to you or talked to you one time, man, I was just impressed by all of the things. And we're not done yet, everybody. You know, so, so we're not done yet with this, with what this gentleman is doing in his life and in his world. And but at the end of the day, he's making this world a better place, and that's what I'm talking about. And so when you were doing, setting up, because how long did it take? Well, you said your wife said let's open up a store,
Mhm.
and I mean, were things pretty much in place? Was that an easy idea for you to, you know, because I mean that takes planning for most people,
Yeah,
and
it did. It does. And the crazy, God thing about it is that she did it without a business plan,
that's what it
without a
sounds
business
like. It's
plan.
like.
Yeah, it was like, let's do it. And I think it opened within 3 months. She researched and got, tables. She got, all the decorations around the store when you all come to visit is all her,
Mhm.
because having having the equipment already for the t-shirts, heat press, that's all you see. There's like 400 dots literally
Mhm.
on all around the entire store. Is
Mhm.
awesome.
Mhm.
And even the signage on the window, she did it,
Mhm.
because we was like, listen, we can do these things ourselves. God will equip you to accomplish what he wants you to do. And that's the thing also. We got to understand, we say, God, help me do this. it doesn't mean you got to go out and pull this one and pull that one. And sometimes he's equipped you already with what you need,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what he did. He equipped us already, and she did it. And we opened, grand opening, and it was just awesome. It was just
Yeah,
awesome. It was
yeah.
just awesome.
Wow, wow. So I didn't know the ice water thing was that popular
Oh
up in the
yeah.
Philly
Oh
area
yeah.
there.
Oh yeah. It's a
And
tradition. It's a
okay.
Philly tradition. A lot of people go in Philly, for the Philly cheesesteak and the
Oh yeah,
pretzels. And then you
yeah.
also got to have water ice, and people say water ice, water
Water
ice.
rights. Yeah.
Trust me. And the great thing is, and I tell people, is so different than shaved ice. People have
Okay.
shaved
Okay.
ice and pour the
Yeah.
syrup
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trust me. You try this water ice, you will never go back to shaved ice. Because at the end of the day, you get the mouthful of ice or a mouthful of syrup. This is
Right.
this is fruit juice
All
all the
wow.
way through, man, and it's
Wow.
just wonderful. So,
Well, I
but it's a
tell you,
Philly
man.
tradition, man.
So is that the taste of it and the processing of it, is
Mhm.
that pretty much a Philly kind of standard, or
When it comes to Philadelphians and those listeners who are Philadelphia will understand this. When it comes to Philly, we put our name on everything.
okay, gotcha.
You could have created it in Chicago, but when we do it, we put our name on it. That's how Philadelphians are. So Philadelphia original water ice.
Gotcha,
Um,
gotcha.
so I mean, other people can look at it as Italian ice,
Okay, okay, yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
which the texture is slightly different because
yeah.
Italian ice and New York stuff
Mm-hmm,
is like it's a little harder.
mm-hmm.
Whereas with the Philly water ice, boom, it's a texture. It's a wonderful texture. It's smooth. And but yeah, so right now we're just open on the weekends.
Right,
Because of fall and winter
right.
time, fall. So we're just open on the weekends. Go on our website, www.chiliphillync.org.
All right. Say that one more time. Mm-hmm.
www.chiliphilly, which is ChiliPhillync.org.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha, gotcha. We definitely and so you're open now, right now, just mainly on the weekends, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Just on the
so
weekends right now.
just want to make sure that everyone knows about that. So if you're in this area or visiting this area, you make sure that you stop by and get some of that
Gluten free,
chili, gluten free.
air
Get
free.
some of the chili
There
Philly
you go.
in Winston. And so that's awesome, man. So because I was wondering about that, I was like, how do you guys deal with the season change and
Yeah.
everything like that?
Yeah.
And so when do you make that change, in September or
We just made it a couple weeks ago. So
okay?
more so like the September, mid-September
Yeah,
type.
yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of go with the
So when they
seasons
go
on
back to
that.
school, and we still do a lot of events for universities as well as
Yeah.
high
Okay. Okay.
schools and things like that. We
Yeah.
also have a
Yeah.
cart that we actually take out as
So I
well.
was wondering about that too. Yes, you
Mhm.
guys do have a card also.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
Lord is
Awesome.
blessed. Lord is blessed.
So, like I said, we're not done yet, everybody. And this is one of the last things that I want to touch on here with regards to this man's amazing life here. So you are a professor.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about that too, because like I said, you know,
That's why I also wanted to go back and bring the educational part about it
right,
and see
right,
where that
right,
falls in.
right, right.
Because again, just how God is,
Yeah.
I graduated and got my master's degree from Wake Forest University,
Hmm.
private institution, last May 2022. And I'm purposely slowing down for people to understand the timeline. 3 months after I graduated, I didn't get a call. I didn't get an email. I got a text
Hmm.
from the staff here, this professor staff here, and they say, "Hey, your name keeps coming up in this meeting, and want to know if you want to come back and teach." And I'm looking at it and like, maybe she sent this to the wrong person. I just graduated, and yeah, and I accepted.
Hmm.
So this past spring, 2023, I started and was an adjunct professor
Hmm.
and I'm teaching public speaking.
Hmm.
I think I can handle that.
I think so.
And then I would say probably within a month in or something like that, they contacted me again and said, "Hey, how about take it on full time?" So I'm now teaching and professor, I'm an assistant professor here at Wake Forest University, teaching 3 times on Tuesday, 3 times on Thursday, public speaking. I have a total this semester, I have a total about 91 students.
Wow.
And I mean, to me, it's not only a job in that respect, because I also, let me back up too. I also said told the Lord, I didn't want to go back into a corporate environment. I didn't want to go back to a 9 to 5 type of position. He brought me from that, and I said, no, and so when they said Tuesday and Thursday, I was like, okay, I can do that. So it's also ministry for me, because again, changing lives, touching lives, building lives, and sometimes using biblical principles that they don't even realize we're using, and so that's a blessing in and of itself. Yes, I'm a professor here at Wake Forest.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So, just staying on that just for a couple of seconds here, with regards to changing lives, and those 91 students that you do and are working with right now, public speaking, I think, is something that is an art that I think is not to say we're losing, but it's something that you have to gravitate towards, and it might come as a needed practice or something or what have you. But talk to us a little bit about why public speaking is important, or learning the art of public speaking is important in general.
Well, it's interesting because I started laughing while you were talking, because I'll just say our folk, some church folk.
Okay.
Was also questioning what I was getting my degree in. I got my degree in communication. I said, not theology, not, I'm like, no, I'm going the direction that God wants me to go. It's like, wow, imagine that. So, doing what God wants me to do. So it has been a blessing. And I discovered that, yes, public speaking, because it's something that we're lacking today, because of this thing right here. We're lacking the personalization. We're lacking that ability to properly articulate and even just present ourselves in a manner that is conducive to not only our culture and what the society expects. I think it's something that is necessary for our athletes, something necessary for all areas to take us to another level. It's not a matter of talking like them or anything like that. It's a matter of just learning how to articulate and pronounce, the English language correctly. And I think it gives you a certain amount of confidence as well. And I think that is definitely my challenge that I love, because it's building confidence, And so I just thank God for being able to do this. It's I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
So is that something that, like you set out for, or is it something that, like, you just, once again, you're listening to God's guidance on this?
Well, backing up to Winston-Salem State University, I was a mass communications and psychology. That's what I got my degree in. And so the communication part of it was always fascinating to me, because again, one of my other companies, P2H, which is praise to him, it's LLC. I created that first years ago to publicize my first book that I wrote. And then
there's another one.
Yeah. We'll come to that. And you're fun. So then I started, like I said, going into videography, and then started doing voiceovers. And then while I was at Winston-Salem State University, we have a jazz radio station that's also there, housed there, WSNC 90.5 on FM station. It also can be found on the internet. And they asked me to come in, and I did my internship there. And they asked me to come in to do some voiceovers. So now I do voiceovers also on the side for the jazz radio station. And in between the songs, you hear WSNC 90. So that's me. So that's something. But yeah, it's not something. I can't say I intentionally looked out to and go that direction,
Mm-hmm.
I knew I didn't want to go into healthcare management because I was
Mm-hmm.
burnt out. I was burnt out from traveling, and I just wanted something different. And it was that time in my life in the 30s or so that I was like, hey, you know what? I can change. I can do whatever direction I want, and I got some, biblical studies under my belt,
Mm-hmm.
associates in theology and biblical studies under my belt. So I was like, okay, that's cool. That could be
Mm-hmm.
right there, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But I wanted to do something that was also would be a great benefit for my family and something I
Right.
could leave behind as
Right.
well.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Because I'm an introvert.
Yeah.
As
I
much
am
as
too.
I, yeah,
I am as well. And when people
and
don't understand that, because
yeah,
you're a pastor. No, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I don't like crowds. I really don't like crowds. So that's
yeah.
when you're truly in your calling. So I'm an introvert. My
Yeah,
wife would.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm an
Mhm.
introvert. I don't like crowds. And this is when I would say when we were at Starbucks,
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
probably when I'm in my element in that regards because it's
Right.
one-on-one. I get the
Exactly.
opportunity to kind of like
Right.
learn about you versus
Right.
like a crowd setting where it's I was never one to be in the clubs, never with
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
person,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
what have you.
Mhm.
But one of the things, Frank, as we come to a close here, man, is one thing that I'm taking away from this is outside of your faith and is the fact that you you really said, I am going to live a life that is going to be of service,
Mhm.
and I'm going to live a life that I am happy with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
said, you could have gone back to
Mhm.
corporate,
Mhm.
but you
Yeah.
said, no, I'm not
Yeah.
going to do that. And I
Right.
think that's where people, they don't act out their faith, you
Mhm.
know, with regards to
Mhm.
that. And so they fall into that trap of like, I'll settle
Yep.
and, I
Yep.
won't live my best life in a
Right.
sense. So the
Right.
name of the show, of course, is Living Your Best Life, man. And I want to congratulate you, you know, in in making that happen for you, your
Yeah.
family, and everything, because a lot of us don't realize that we do have that option. We
We
can
do.
live,
We
we can
really
live
do.
our best life,
We really do.
and
We
I
do.
don't see
And
enough.
it also has to do with who you surround yourself with.
Yeah, true, true, true.
If I'm connecting with individuals who aren't really going anywhere, well, that's where I'm going.
Yeah. You're going to be that fifth
Yeah.
person, if,
So
out of.
it's that analogy of the pigeons and the eagles.
Yeah,
Either you
yeah,
go with the
yeah,
pigeons,
yeah.
and just make mess,
Right,
or go with the
right. The
eagles and
Eagles
make
and
some changes.
soar,
Yeah.
And so, like I said, man, I applaud you, man. If there's anything that that you can share right quick for, I would say the young people coming up,
Yeah. Yeah.
because you are in connection with them.
Yeah.
And if there's like one thing that you could say to young people and us as seasoned people, to know how to connect with younger people.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
would that one thing be?
I it just touch on that, being an author, writing several books, and then writing another book with my one of the professors here at Wake Forest, and then having the businesses, voiceover. Um, Number one, I realized, and being a pastor of a church, you know, I realized way ahead of time that it's not about me.
Mhm.
You know, 2 Corinthians says, "My grace is sufficient for you."
Mhm. Mhm.
Stop. Your strength is made perfect in my weakness,
Mhm. Mhm.
which number one, in saying that in my weakness is admitting that I need help.
Mhm.
God, I can't do it without you.
Mhm.
So that would be the first thing, because we're living at a time right now where everyone has a S on their chest.
Mhm.
They can do it. It'll never happen to me or anything like that. And then when given the opportunity, you fall short.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I would say, if you want to do it, and that's why I tell people when people come to me and saying, well, Pastor, I'm thinking about this business plan. I'm thinking about this. Don't ever tell me that, because I will push you. I
Mhm.
will push you so hard,
Mhm.
because it can be done.
Mhm.
And it's totally up to you. If you have the faith and you have your priorities in order, It's not always about having 5,000 or 10,000 in the bank. It's a matter of what's your passion?
Mm-hmm.
What is your passion? And we'll work it from there.
Mm-hmm.
Passion and prayer, I'm telling you, it will produce every time. So that's what I would say, especially in today's age. TikTok is fine, Snapchat is fine, but when it comes down all to it, what do you want for yourself? Yeah. And what do you want to leave behind for those coming behind you? You want to leave the bills and clothes? You want to leave the Coach bags and the Prada? or do you want to leave,
you got some bills?
Right. So CDs and things like that. So so that's what I would encourage people to just do it. Nike hit it. Nike hit it when they got do it. I mean, they hit it, honestly. But the difference is that you can really do it when you have God on your side. Mm-hmm. And I love to encourage people. I love to push people, and I love to, especially leaders. I want to also encourage leaders and bridging the gap between our age and that age and so forth. I'll go with my daughter in a second and let my daughter know, is this fly? Is this lit? Is this what? Tell me not to put it on, and she'll tell me. So I must be doing okay because she hasn't been saying anything lately. So
I see what you're rocking with today, man. You got your gear on, man. And so I'm like Frank, look at this guy. So man, you're looking great, man. And I once again, I just enjoyed this time with you, man, and just learning from you. There's so much more to learn about you. I'll be honest with you, and learn from you. Based on just that conversation that one time, that one first meeting at Starbucks. Mm-hmm. There's the military part of you, and that whole thing. And so, I mean, it's so much more that I would love to have you back on, man, and just share even more.
I plan to die empty.
Man, there we go, die empty. I say that all the time to people. Die empty, and give it all you got. Give everything out, and everything. But Frank, thanks so much, man, for coming on.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Truly appreciate it, man. And we got so much value. I know I did anyway. If I got value, I'm pretty sure you'll get value.
Bless you, listening. Really appreciate you.
Yes, sir. So everybody, listen. Thank you so much for hanging out with today and Frank Robinson on Living Your Best Life. And this is what we do. We bring the people. We bring that fire. And this guy, he brought it today. And I thank you so much once again. And so, like I said, that's what we do, and we're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep bringing to the people that are out in the trenches, helping people live their best life. So thank you, everyone. Once again, this is Hot Cheek signing off of Living Your Best Life. Y'all be good. Peace.